Here we are 10 days out from the fight. And I got my man, Victor De Rocha.
Victor De Rocha! You better fucking kill me in the ring because I'm coming for you, motherfucker.
I like your story. So you started off in Costco. Costco Jeremy, 19. Ferrari Jeremy in Mansion, 29.
I listed that resume on Indeed.com, and then I got recruited by Grant Cardone. I was his first digital marketer.
There's a problem with the youth in America. So many of y'all are hurt. Y'all are making up a bunch of sorry-ass excuses why you can't have the American dream, while other motherfucking young people are sitting here getting rich. Sitting next to my buddy here, 29 years old, 2 Ferraris, G-Wagon, 12,000 square foot mansion here. You had rich parents?
Not at all. I had a babysitter for a mother and a factory worker for a father. Look, I just go out there and I just help people make money. You know, that's what's gotten me richer.
Guys, if you're youngsters out there, you gotta learn the most important skill in business. I don't care what the fuck you do. This blue collar trade where whether you're a marketer for a contractor, you're a salesperson for a contractor, there's a lot of opportunity in dirty jobs.
And you guys get money too, you know?
What's up, my man? How you doing, brother?
Fantastic, brother.
Dude,
How about you?
we're gonna get ready here and we're gonna go through a boxing workout. You're gonna put some pressure on me, man, and I'm excited about it. But you were asking me some questions about my fight. I think that my opponent has 8 months to train. He's been pretending like he's not training, but I know he's training. He wouldn't fight on our card because he was being a bitch. So my wife's best friend runs NFC in Atlanta. He's fighting on that card. And hopefully, like, all these contractors are like, I want to fight Lee next, I want to fight Lee next. And at the next event, you know, I'll have someone that will actually step up to fight. The first event that I fought on, I did a jiu-jitsu match. But I paid the dude 10 grand. Performing in front of your crowd and not getting humiliated is an important element, and making the walk. It's almost like you don't want to be humiliated more than you don't want to be hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So
Let's get to it.
all right, let's get to it.
Dealing with nervousness on your first fight, whether it's amateur, whether it's pro, you want to take the pressure off. The way I did it was, first I would tell myself, hey, this is just for show. Until you look at the guy in the eye and the referee's like, are you ready? Are you ready? Like, damn, this is it. We gotta fight now. From then on, I would say to myself, okay, this is an exhibition match. Yeah. I spar every day. I do this every day. The only difference is people came to watch today. Yeah. Exhibition match. One thought can change your whole game. Listen to this. This is deep. One thought. I'll prove it to you right now. Exhibition. What is an exhibition?
Doesn't mean what happened.
You demonstrating what you know, what you've practiced. Okay, I'm here and I'm gonna run it. Whether I land it or not, I'm gonna keep on running my game. Exhibition match takes all the pressure off. That's what it did for me, and it was when I had the best of my performances. I'm like, I'm gonna try this one. Next up, I'm gonna try that. I had it already queued up. Fuck what he's doing. I got my shit queued up. Bam, bam, bam. Jaguar on his ass. Next one queued up. Jab body. Okay, didn't work. Fuck it. Next one. And then I'm fully focused on my exhibition, on doing a good performance for the crowd. I believe you will get into that state of exhibition and have your best performance on this fight.
Hey,
Your best performance on this fight.
I'm gonna do it, man. You got me ready. Those are the only rounds, really. Hey, remember how this all started? You called me. How did this all get started?
Well, all this?
Dude, Gary Vee walked into Grant Cardone's office.
Yeah. But first of all, I got my income capped at my job, and Lee got introduced to me by one of the sales guys at that job. And long story short, he asked me to do some emails for him for his roofing company at the time. So Lee was my first client ever as a and yeah, long story short, I eventually wanted to quit that job, and I called Lee up and I asked him, I was like, dude, can you put me on some kind of monthly retainer, like a small deal? You'll be my first client ever, like, can we make this recurring so I can quit? And I took a big income. I took a 60% income cut from my job to just go out there and start my marketing agency and work with Lee initially. And yeah, man, it's been like 8-9 years since then.
How many millions on the internet have you made?
A lot.
I can't even count. It's like 20 million.
Yeah, a lot.
Like 40 million together since that day. But guys, let me tell you something. If you want to learn how to make money off of Facebook as a marketer, this man has ran all my ads, and he's a genius, and he teaches a lot of guys how to make a lot of money. How many people in your program making 6 figures a month?
Probably like in the hundreds. I want to say like anywhere from like 300 to 400 of them.
That's a lot of fucking people.
That's out of 4,000 paid students. So
That's a
good
fucking
ratio.
lot of ratio. I'll be honest with you, man.
Most of them make like 10 to 50K for like the regular agency owners that like take it seriously, and then the all-stars.
I think the success rate might be better with the digital marketers than the roofers. But I'm gonna unpack a podcast with this man. We're gonna tell the whole story. Get some juicy details.
Oh yeah.
So you started off in Costco.
I was selling phones in Costco. Hell yeah.
Fuck,
19 years old.
Walk us through like the journey. Costco Jeremy, 19. Ferrari Jeremy in Mansion, 29.
Okay. So I sold a phone to a guy. His name was Peter. He hired me to be his head of marketing. That's what got me into the whole thing.
Nice. How did you start that conversation?
But to be clear, it actually was, so I kind of went out of my way to help him out with some other electronics that he was interested in, which I didn't get a commission on. I just wanted to help the guy.
Yeah.
And he viewed me as like one of those young, competent with technology kind of guys. And he literally told me, he was like, why don't you come and interview for this position I have? I think it'd be good for you. I think you young people know about technology. I think this would be something right up your alley. And in reality, like, I didn't lie to the guy or anything. I had no experience at all with anything marketing related. I was selling cell phones.
But you were giving a little fluff job there.
No. He just liked me as a person.
Okay, he thought he could train you.
And yeah, he thought to himself, literally the thought of young people are good with technology.
Yeah.
And he was right. He totally was right.
Yeah, he was right.
He put me into all these random things I had never done before, like email marketing, running ads to webinars, building websites, like SEO, working with the sales team. And at the end of the day, like, you can spot talent out in the wild.
When did you
that's,
outgrow
like,
that
undeveloped,
opportunity?
Well, the thing is, he actually got bought out. He came to me one day. I'll never forget this. It was, I think it was a Friday. He told me, he goes, yeah, I'm shutting the company down. Like, I'm getting bought out. You're not gonna have a job by this next Friday. And I was like, holy shit. I went to Fiverr.com, paid some lady $10 to create my resume for me with like all these things I had done professionally. I listed that resume on Indeed.com, and then I got recruited by Grant Cardone. I was his first digital marketer. And long story short, I went from cell phones to head of marketing to working as Grant's first digital marketer, and then worked there for about 13 months.
How did you meet me?
We had a sales rep that worked there that you were getting closed by.
Dave Robards.
Yeah, and he, shout out to Dave, man. And long story short, you put as a stipulation of closing with them that you wanted to meet the guy doing all the emails for Grant.
I wanted the email marketer.
That's right. And long story short, Dave came into the office there and connected us together. I told you respectfully that I was going to call you later that day rather than talking to you during Grant's business hours while they were paying me. And yeah, we connected up. You were my first deal ever.
Closed me on a 15K deal, something like that.
Something like that. I think it was like 12, 15K. What I did is I actually took that check. I'll never forget this. Listen, I cashed out that check. Okay. So I literally took it and turned it into cash.
Yeah.
And then I walked around with a fucking loaf in my pocket at Grant's office. And I'd walk up to my like fellow people in my creative team there, and I'd be like, touch it, I'd tell them to touch it. And I did, dude, it was awesome. I'd wake up every day and I'd count.
The whole creative team wanted to work for me.
It was so cool. Yeah, you got a few,
And then it caused a problem.
It did cause a problem.
What kind of problem?
Well, he told me I had to refund and fire you, And
What do we do?
I didn't feel good about that, to be clear, that they were trying to control my income. Well, I'll tell you what, we didn't do that. We continued the relationship from that point forward.
I risked a $1.8 million deal.
Well, I paid off for you. How much money you made?
Hey, listen,
you made way more than $1.8 million.
He pulled me into the room, his head person. We won't even go into the details.
Yeah, we don't need to say that name.
No. She gave me the death stare, and she said, "Are you working with Jeremy Haynes?" Absolutely not. I've got Eric Brooks as a digital marketer.
Yeah, we had to go undercover there for a little bit,
But either way, Grant would want, you on his team. I figured I was just doing what it was trained to do,
It made a lot of sense. I didn't understand why they wanted to control our income because we weren't doing anything on their hours or, anything like that. We were doing everything outside of it, after our job ended.
So, first time that we created Sky Diamonds University, we went out. I'm your first client. Sometimes you got to do a little more to build this big business. Things run passively now. But what did you have to do for me that you don't do for clients now?
Well, I mean, first of all, when you first get started, you got no leverage at all. Like you got to do whatever you can in order to keep the deal.
Dude, I'm bringing the fucking storm here.
This is great. I appreciate the windy days out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short, we had a lot that we had to do for you, to be clear. Filming videos, like, I mean, you were my first client, like all hours of the day.
Dude, you gave me books to read. You gave me, read Russell Brunson, read Frank Kern. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know nothing about advertising.
I had to yell at Lee a lot.
You came from working for Grant Cardone and you're like, I'm dependent on this fucking clown.
Yeah, you had to develop a lot, to say the least,
So here I am working with this 19-year-old who's developing me as a marketer.
Right. Well, I mean, look, long story short, we filmed ads with Lee. We had to film his entire course. I was the video editor. The same thing as my first head of marketing job. I had to do everything, and that's okay. Like that's what you got to do in your first deals. Now you got to be able to get what's called a door kicker.
Now, door kicker led to a lot of success. You started having a lot of momentum, and then
that's how it works. Like
where's the first bump in the road, though? Because success was getting to your head there, and you went out to L.A.
No, listen to this. That was a good opportunity. First of all, I'll articulate it very simply. Okay, in 2017. I had 27 staff. I had 3 offices, 2 in Beverly Hills, 1 here in Miami being the main headquarters. Screw taxes. And it was just too much.
Oh, God.
Well,
we must be talking some crazy shit.
Yeah, anyway, I had too many staff. I had 27 people working for me, and they were like employees and like contractors, like all in the house, like there in person. We had dozens and dozens of clients at that point. And I remember every day I woke up, it was like a never-ending list of to-dos that compounded by the day. I was going to bed at like, no, this is terrible. This is not a way to run this kind of business, because I run it completely differently today, and I make way more money. I have far less stress. I have a great quality of life. I don't have nearly that many staff. I have 6 staff in comparison. I work with less than 15 people at a time. I make like literally quadruple what I was making back then. And yeah, long story short, the model I was running, I thought that people scaled a business to exit in that type of way. And I was very wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, I was 23 years old. I didn't know anything. I was an idiot. And I mean, it took a tremendous amount of stress in order to reposition my thinking to understand a few key things, okay? Number one, people like you only care about results. You don't care at all about the time and effort that goes into what's being done. You care about the result and the result volume and the consistency of that result. That alone led me to a tremendous amount of key lessons. Rev shares, reduce like efficiency. There's a great concept from Elon Musk. He calls it Parkinsons Law. He had his team of rocket engineers come to him when he was building that big Falcon 9 rocket. And he was like, how long are you guys going to take to build this? You know what they told him?
What?
10 years. Rocket scientists, mathematicians, physicists, like telling them it's going to take a decade. And that was mathematically precise in their opinion.
Yeah.
He told them they got 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. They obviously threw a fit. These people were pissed. They were arguing with him. He didn't give a shit. He said, you guys got 6 months. I'd rather cycle through a dozen of you guys rather than letting you guys take 10 years to do it. Like, figure it out. You know how long it ended up taking them?
How long?
8 months.
8 months.
Okay. 8 months to figure that out. That's called Parkinson's Law. You put a time constraint on what you think is going to take a long time, and you think differently about how to execute.
You were servicing everybody else, but you needed your own product.
That too. I mean,
didn't you create your first product? Don't you think that was an important turn for you?
I mean, it helped a lot, but to be clear, I mean, what
was your first product?
Like my first product, I mean, as the agency, that was technically my first products, like the done-for-you marketing services. That being essentially like systematized, productized, niched to like specific people.
Then you started building personal brand university. That wasn't that the...
I had several courses that we came out with over the years. So what happened is in 2017, we got Ty Lopez as a client. And, just going and working with Ty all the time, he wanted me to teach inside of his program he had. He had a program called the SMMA, which is how to start a social media marketing agency.
It's been like since 2018, Everybody wants to be a social media
He
marketer.
sold 400,000 people into that course.
Yeah.
So I got a tremendous amount of people hitting me up all the time saying things like, you're my favorite instructor from there. And they had tons of questions. I figured all those questions were answered inside of that program, but apparently they weren't. So I went out of my way as somebody who works with information product people. I created my own info product. And that was my first course I had. It was on how to start and scale a marketing agency. It's very important to point out. It's a very important caveat. All this shit I pay for with one client. Okay, one client's rev share pays for every single thing that you see in terms of my lifestyle stuff. My education company's always been about, I'd say like anywhere from 5 to like 15%, give or take a month of my total income. My agency's always been my main focus, but I practice what I preach. You know, I help guys like you.
And now I've seen you like taking a newfound commitment to creating the organic content, to giving back. And
that's just what you got to do nowadays. You know,
different.
You want to participate in this day and age, you got to be making content, doing things like this.
And so these guys, a lot of them watching this, youngsters, they're not making the content, and they're not evolving.
Well, they think they don't have anything to talk about, you know.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, not a lot of them do. But that's where taking the action comes in. You just simply learn a lot through taking action. You turn around and you teach those things. You work with some clients. You find things that they're doing successfully. You turn that into content. That gets you attention. There's a good lesson that Grant taught me back in the day, which is attention's the foundation of business. Businesses die in obscurity. So that simply means you got to get as much attention as possible. I remember one time.
A good way to get attention is to have these Ferraris.
I mean,
you got to hack.
They're fun for sure.
For finding a good deal, and I mean, any of these that you got any good deals on, or what's the secret on the exotic cars?
I'll tell you what. So Carvana is actually a really good secret to this. If you don't want to get absolutely screwed on buying like nice cars in terms of high interest rates and having to put like 50, 70% down, you got to cycle through between 25 and 28. I had 13 cars that I'd buy on Carvana with like 5 to 10K down payments. I'd make payments on them for like 6 months, maybe up to a year, sell them back to Carvana. Okay. I'd sometimes cut a negative equity check for like another 5 to 10K, but that then counts as a paid off car. So I'd be getting like $50,000, $100,000 cars. I ended up accumulating like $600,000, $700,000 worth of paid off vehicles on my car credit history in under 3 years.
So you became a whale.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
so in car credit wise, hell yeah. It's like then you go to, this was the first one that I bought. When you go buy a 458, that was only 200 grand. First of all, super cheap. They were like, all right, you only need to put 30% down, and they gave me a 4% interest rate during times where everybody else is getting quoted 8, 9%. That's highly irregular with an exotic car. And I know
your CPA say you can write it off since you use it.
it's like you do things like this where like, you know, you put them, this is a business expense to be clear. When you do things like putting inside of your ad videos, you know, making content with them like this. If you actually go to my page at Jeremy on Instagram, you'll see almost all my content, the background are these things.
Now, what do you have to say to a CPA that says you can't do that?
Oh, you totally can. I mean, they know. A good CPA will know. There's specific rules for the creator economy that exists now, created by the IRS. You can buy like nice watches as an example, and as long as they're consistently in your content, maybe you do like a few pieces of content on YouTube or on your Instagram that are like watch tours or watch explanations, or you simply put, you work them into what you do. That can all be articulated as a tax write-off to the IRS. It's important to note though, it's about how you do it. You got to follow their rules. It's not just like you buy them and you put them in one video and then you get to write it off. You know, well, they got to truly be used as a business.
I think a lot of it, you make the content, you got the videos or Ferraris, you've got the leads coming in the marketing, but none of it doesn't mean anything without sales. One thing you teach these guys that don't like high pressure sales, you got this strategy you teach them, whether it's through DMs, whether it's through demonstrations, you get people to respond to you off a cold reach out. That's cold calling.
We do cold video.
You're like nerd cold calling king. You're the nerd cold calling king. How do you cold call like a nerd?
We do cold video pitches is what we call them, you know? So we sit there at a computer, we pull up the person's like social media, their websites. You can look at people's ads now in these things called ad libraries. They're everything, you can see all that shit. And a lot of the times as a marketer, you'll have a specific strategy that you know could work well for these people. And simply put, you need to make a video showing them how that strategy is going to work for them, turning that strategy.
Like just talk to the screen, copy the screen.
Yeah, it's like a 4 to 8 minute video. One time I said, you know, the Wolf of Wall Street guy, the Jordan Belfort guy, I sent one to him that was 8 minutes long. He responded back, make it under 4 minutes and I'll watch it, you know? So ideally it's like 4 to 5 minutes, you know? If it's a little longer, that's okay if you talk slow. But you're essentially, I call it a clear process to revenue, a CPR.
What's the biggest deal you've ever seen off of a video pitch? How fast? Or like our
biggest deal that we got off a video pitch? Yeah. So we had this guy, I think it was either 2017 or 2018. he was the original flipper on A&E was his TV show.
Yeah.
His name's Armando.
Yeah.
And Armando was doing like $200 million a year. Big info product business. None of it coming in from digital sales. All of it coming from like seminars and traditional shit. And long story short, we closed Armando for $100K a month, flat fee deal. And that came from a video pitch and then meeting him in person through a referral opportunity.
I think you charged that one a little too much.
No, think about it, right? $100K a month, that's $1.2 million a year. The guy's already doing $200 million a year. That's a huge discount. That's less than 1% of the guy's total revenue that he's
Hey, it's
making.
all relative.
And it's very important to understand. The price that you charge is relative to the amount that we're probable to make the guy back.
You know what?
We're so probable to make the guy more than $100K a month.
So many of my guys got poor parents. Even some of them growing up, they have people from different countries. You know, it wouldn't matter. It's like a different country to me to think about a factory worker.
I have guys in Morocco. This guy in Morocco is making like fucking $4 grand a year, dude.
Yeah.
I got him to 40K in a year, and then the following year he hit me up, and
Dude,
I know these numbers are kind of
You
round.
can get a hair.
Dude, he said he
you know
got
how many women in
$40,000 a month deal, and you know how like his whole life changed tremendously, going from 4K to 40K a year to like 40K a month. Tremendous growth, and that was one of my first agency owner students.
Wow.
Yes, you can do it anywhere. I got kids in countries I can't even pronounce that are like 10 syllables long, where you know $1,000 a month is a tremendous amount of money to them, and they'll get to like 10K a month to completely change their life. You know, there's all kinds of opportunities the internet's provided.
Now, here's the deal, guys. MySpace has got a bunch of buffoons. I call you Mr. Nerd Goon because he's pretty gangster with his ads and sales strategies. But in my industry where it's soft, where there's a lot of basically contractors that don't understand advertising, they don't know how to sell. What's that mean for like a digital marketer in my space? Like in contracting in general, do you think there's a lot of opportunity there?
Yeah, there is and there isn't, because with your industry specifically, from watching you over the years, one of the funniest things about like roofers specifically,
Go ahead,
is
clown on them.
they are so hard-headed when it comes to being open to these opportunities that make them a lot of money. Like they can make a ton of additional revenue and not have to go door to door by running lead gen ads locally in their specific market. Most of them have worked with either terrible marketers or terrible agencies if they've tried it at all.
Most of them we have to pull teeth to create.
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
content.
saying. Like,
They
you
will
really
not make
gotta
the content.
smash them over the head in order to get them to even try stuff.
Yeah.
And even then, like they're not really willing to invest more than like a couple $100 in a month. And I know most of these guys are making pretty good money per job.
Yeah.
You know, much more than that to be able to take this kind of risk. But it's an industry where a lot of people are very like closed-minded.
Mhm.
That's where the opportunity comes in. Since a lot of the competition is really shut to these kind of opportunities and taking advantage of them, that is a tremendous opportunity for people like yourself who milk the shit out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's less people advertising, which means ad costs are lower. And as long as your industry is the way that it is, you know, there's going to continue to be great opportunities to make more money, you know?
Dude, I've seen it, like this community that you built evolve. We're here every quarter. This room, this whole place fills up with these digital
Inner circle
marketers.
masterminds, yeah.
And the power of a mastermind. My coaching community,
Masterminds are sweet.
dude, whenever I started doing a mastermind, that had to influence you a little bit. Like,
Dude, I've loved masterminds from the jump. Believe it or not, my first year
uh-huh.
of just like being in business, do you remember the yacht mastermind?
Yeah,
So I did things like that, you know? I had like 12 people show up to that first one.
right.
I had an event the following year where we rented a big house in the hills in Beverly Hills.
I went to that.
Yeah, that was the Internet Earners Summit. You know, I did that for like 2-3 years. It's like I've been doing those kind of things. But to be fair, yeah, I mean, look, anybody who's doing things around you that are successful, you want to repeat them. You know, that's a big
Absolutely.
key to making the money.
When we started doing the mastermind, it really started getting the level of success up in the group, peer accountability. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
But dude, there's levels to this shit. 29 years old, millions of dollars online.
Oh yeah.
Guys, it all started when we started creating content that demonstrate that we could help people. And we were running ads because we couldn't get organic traffic. And you know, the biggest problem is like, a lot of you don't create the content. You don't understand how to retarget it with a proper sales offer. And it was investing a lot of money with a guy like Jeremy, even from the jump 8 years ago, even going through this like humbling experience of having a 19-year-old bust my balls about not knowing how to do this shit. And, you know, the cool thing about it is like, now I'm one of the nerds. Now I'm one of the marketing.
Come a long way.
And if you're watching this right now, I want to say, dude, if you want freedom in your business, you want more people, you want more leads, dude, you need to hang around people with me and Jeremy. As a matter of fact,
yeah.
he spoke at like every one of our events and masterminds. And look, we got a big event coming up, actually January 19th and 20th. It's going to be off the chain. pre-fight press conference. We're going to be doing sales training. We're going to have a lot of people that are from my community, even people from the Roofing Insights community are going to be there.
Come watch Lee beat the fuck out of one of his haters.
Features going down. It's going to be great. And man, dude, it's been fun watching you grow, Jeremy.
Thanks, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you
Appreciate
for
you,
helping
man.
me get in business in the
Hell
first
yeah,
place.
man.
Wouldn't be here without you.
All right. Wouldn't be here without you, man. Thanks a lot.